Hello friends, and welcome to this Lenten reflection of Wednesday, the third week of Lent, presented and produced by myself, Father Tom Casey SMA, of the SMA Media Centre in Ndola. Our reflection today is based on the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 7, and I quote, Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I come not to abolish, but to fulfill." End of quote. In our first reading from Deuteronomy, we see the people of Israel about to enter the promised land, and Moses is giving them a final pep talk. He warns them to keep the law as given to him on Mount Sinai. In other words, the Ten Commandments. Now with Jesus' coming, he emphasized that the perfect response to God is to love him because he loves us. Love of God and neighbour as we love ourselves is the new way of saying it, and it is in fact 2 commandments. That law is written in our hearts, not on 2 tablets of stone, as the 10 commandments were written by the finger of God. In other words, we shall know the commandments and go far above the thou shalt nots. Rather, we will walk the extra mile for God in love for him by doing it for our neighbour. God needs me to get up in the middle of the night to help my neighbour who has had an accident. It's not written in the 10 Commandments that I should do this. And in fact, if the 10 Commandments were my only rule, I should stay in the comfort of my bed with my family and feel that I am obeying and keeping the 10 Commandments. For nowhere is it written that I should get up and help my injured and bloodied neighbour. But the call of love says that I should, and not only for humanitarian grounds, but also that in serving my neighbour, by helping him in the middle of the night where it's dark and cold and dangerous, I am giving glory to God. The commandments from this perspective shows us reaching to our highest plane of the angels, who can do no wrong, only good for everyone. With a quotation from Wesley Baines, the author of the 10 Times Kindness That Changed the World, and subtitled Losing Faith in Humanity, Here's the Cure. And he says, and I quote, "People we may not know, but who did great acts of kindness for the good of humanity are as follows. Jonas Salk, father of biophilosophy and inventor of the polio vaccine. He refused to patent his invention in order to keep the costs low. He basically forfeited $7 billion in order to save as many lives as possible. Maximilian Kolbe was a victim to severe violence and harassment. Toward the end of his 2nd month in Auschwitz concentration camp in Poland, men were chosen to face death by starvation to warn against escaping. Kolbe was not chosen but volunteered to take the place of a man with a family. It is said during the last days of his life, Kolbe led prayers to Our Lady with the prisoners and remained calm. He was the last of the group to remain alive. After 2 weeks of dehydration and starvation, the guards gave him a lethal injection of carbolic acid. The stories tell that he raised his left arm and calmly awaited death. Saint Maximilian Kolbe died on August the 14th, and his remains were cremated on August the 15th, the same day as the Assumption of Mary feast day. Acts of kindness come not only from the individual, also from groups. In 2011, Christian protesters in Tahrir Square in Egypt linked hands to create a human wall around a group of Muslims so that they could safely pray during a time of great unrest. A few days later, Muslims returned the favour. During Mass in Cairo's Central Plaza, a group of Muslims clad in traditional garb joined hands to protect the praying Christians from violence. After the service ended, the crowd of Muslims and Christians chanted, "One hand," celebrating their unity while holding up Qurans and crosses. This act of kindness, shown by two sides of traditionally warring people groups, shows that we are all capable of working together as one no matter what. On May the 13th, 1981, Pope John Paul II was shot 4 times by Mehmet Ali Hakka as he crossed St. Peter's Square in Vatican City. 2 bullets struck the Pope in the stomach, while one struck his right arm and another his left index finger. In immense pain, the Pope was bundled away by his security team, and despite severe blood loss, the Pontiff survived. The Pope immediately, openly, and in his own words, sincerely forgave the man. In 1983, Pope John Paul II even went as far as to visit his would-be assassin, engaging the man in a private conversation, befriending him, and staying in touch with his family. In 2000, the Pope requested that Hakka be pardoned. That request was granted, and Hakka was released from his Italian prison, although he was still compelled to serve out the remainder of his Turkish sentence. After the Pope's visit, Hakka converted to Christianity and was finally released in 2010, returning to Rome in 2014 to lay 24 white roses at John Paul II's tomb. These simple acts of forgiveness changed the very heart of Hakka, where anger and condemnation might have only hardened him. End of quote. Pope Francis, as quoted in CatholicNet 2018, says, and I quote, "We can speak of fulfilling the laws in 2 ways, by doing everything that is asked for, or by completing that which is missing. Jesus completes the law of the Old Testament with the new law of love, to love one another as he has loved us. So let these acts of kindness that change the world be examples for you to live by. You might just change the world yourself." This has been Father Tom Casey, SMA, of the SMA Media Centre in Dola, signing off now and wishing you a happy, peaceful and holy Lenten period.